The sun had already begun its slow descent, spilling golden light through the tall, dense trees of the forest. The air was cool and carried the scent of damp leaves and earth. Maren had been walking for hours, her boots pressing softly into the soil, branches brushing against her jacket, when she noticed something unusual between the shadows. It was a structure, small and strange, painted entirely in white, almost glowing against the deep greens and browns of the forest. It was a pallet house, simple yet oddly elegant, with clean lines and a porch that seemed to invite her in. Maren stopped, her heart catching in her chest. She had explored the forest many times, yet she had never seen this house. Her curiosity sparked, mixed with a sense of unease. Something about the house felt deliberate, like it had been waiting for her. She glanced around. The forest was quiet, too quiet. Birds had stopped singing, and the rustle of leaves seemed to pause as if holding its breath. Despite the strange stillness, Maren felt drawn forward. Step by step, she made her way to the small wooden porch. The paint was smooth and surprisingly fresh, without a single chip or crack. A lantern hung by the door, unlit but polished, as if someone had just taken care of it. She reached out to touch the handle, cold metal against her fingers. The door creaked slightly as she pushed it open. Inside, the house was nothing like she had expected. The interior was warm and welcoming, lit by soft golden lights that seemed to glow without source. A faint scent of vanilla and wood smoke lingered in the air, soothing her nerves. The floorboards were clean, the walls lined with simple furniture. On a small table in the center, a book lay open as though someone had been reading it moments ago. Maren stepped in, her eyes scanning every detail. A soft rug lay by the doorway, and in the corner, a fireplace with no fire waited silently. She could hear her own heartbeat, each thump echoing in the quiet room. It felt strange, like she had crossed into a place suspended from the normal world. A sudden sound made her pause. It was soft at first, like a whisper, then grew louder, a rhythmic tapping, coming from upstairs. Her pulse quickened. She considered leaving, but something inside her urged her to stay. The tapping continued, deliberate and steady, almost as if it were calling her name. Taking a deep breath, she climbed the narrow staircase. Each step groaned under her weight, but the sound didn't seem to carry far. At the top, she found a door slightly ajar. Light spilled through the crack, and the tapping grew louder. She pushed the door fully open and gasped. The room was empty, except for a mirror standing against the far wall. The tapping was coming from it. Maren stepped closer, and as she did, the reflection in the mirror began to shimmer. It was her, but not quite. Her reflection smiled in a way she had never smiled before, calm and confident, almost knowing something she did not. Maren reached out, her fingers hovering over the glass. A sudden chill ran down her spine, and for a moment, she thought the reflection winked at her. Before she could step back, the mirror rippled, like water disturbed by a stone. Light spilled from it, filling the room, and Maren felt herself being pulled toward it. She stumbled, grabbing the frame to steady herself. The light was warm, inviting, yet it carried an energy that made her skin tingle. Her heartbeat raced as she realized she could not look away. Then the room shifted. The walls seemed to stretch, the floor softened, and Maren found herself no longer in the familiar pallet house but in a strange, glowing forest. The trees were taller, their leaves shimmering with colors she had never seen. The air was thick with magic, humming gently around her. She took a cautious step forward, her senses heightened. Every sound was vivid, the whisper of wind through sparkling leaves, the soft rustle of creatures moving unseen. A figure appeared between the trees. It was tall and ethereal, clothed in flowing garments that shimmered with the same light as the forest. Its face was hidden beneath a hood, but Maren felt no fear. Instead, a sense of recognition settled over her, like she had known this being her entire life. "Welcome, Maren," the figure said, voice soft and melodic, carrying through the luminous forest. "You were meant to find the house. You were meant to see this." Maren's mouth opened, but no words came. She could only stare, her heart pounding in her chest. What is this place?" she managed to whisper. This is a place of choices, the figure replied. Every soul who enters the house faces a reflection of what they truly seek. You found the house because it called to you, because you are ready. Marin struggled to understand. She had never believed in destiny, in fate, or in anything beyond the ordinary world she knew. Yet standing there, bathed in the otherworldly glow, she could feel the truth of the figure's words deep in her bones. Choices? She asked. I don't understand. You will, the figure said. It lifted a hand, and the forest shifted again, revealing a path lined with glowing stones. Walk forward, and see what lies ahead. The night has many lessons, and by dawn, your life will be changed. Marin hesitated. Her rational mind screamed to turn back, to return to the safety of the familiar forest, the ordinary world she knew. But a deep part of her, the part that had always yearned for something more, something extraordinary, urged her onward. She stepped onto the glowing path, each step resonating with a warmth that spread through her body. As she walked, she began to see visions in the light around her, scenes from her past, moments of regret, moments of courage. Faces of people she had loved, choices she had made, paths she had not taken. The visions swirled, overlapping, and she realized she was seeing not just her past but the essence of her own soul. A sudden gust of wind blew through the forest, carrying whispers that sounded like fragments of her own thoughts. Courage, Marin, truth, heart. She repeated the words softly, as if tasting them, letting them settle into her. At the end of the path, she found a small clearing. In the center, a simple pedestal held a crystal, glowing with a soft inner light. Marin approached, drawn irresistibly to it. As she reached out to touch the crystal, the world around her paused, holding its breath. The crystal pulsed, warm against her palm, and images flooded her mind, her fears, her hopes, her dreams. She saw herself living boldly, embracing change, finding strength she had never known. And then she saw the cost of hesitation, of clinging to what was safe. A tear slid down her cheek. She realized that the house, the forest, the glowing path, they were all mirrors of her own potential. Everything in that night had been designed to awaken something in her, to force her to confront the choices she had avoided. The figure appeared beside her again, silent, its presence reassuring. Marin looked up, her heart swelling with a mixture of awe and resolve. She understood now. Her life was hers to shape, and the night had shown her the power she had always carried within. The crystal's light intensified, then suddenly, she found herself back in the white pallet house. The sun had dipped below the horizon, and twilight settled over the forest. The house was quiet, ordinary once again, yet Marin felt a profound shift within her. She could feel the energy of the night lingering, a spark of courage and clarity that would never fade. Marin stepped outside, taking in the cool evening air. The forest around her seemed unchanged, yet to her, everything was different. She knew she could not walk away unchanged. The night had altered her, opened her eyes to what she could become, and given her a vision of a life lived fully, without fear. She looked back at the house one last time. It sat quietly, unassuming, yet brimming with untold magic. And then she turned, walking back along the path she had found, each step steady, purposeful, and certain. The forest no longer felt daunting, it felt alive, full of possibilities she was ready to embrace. As Marin disappeared into the trees, the house waited, patient and silent, knowing that the next soul would find their way here too, and that night, once again, would change everything. Marin's boots pressed softly into the mossy forest floor as the moon rose higher, silver light spilling through the trees and painting everything in a delicate glow. She could still feel the warmth from the house lingering in her chest, a spark that refused to fade. The white pallet house stood silently behind her, hidden among the trees, almost as if it had never been there at all. She knew she could return at any time, but for now, she felt an unshakable pull to explore the forest beyond, to see what secrets it held under the cover of night. The air was cooler now, carrying a gentle breeze that whispered through the branches. Marin moved cautiously, each step measured, alert to every sound. The forest had changed since she first entered, the shadows seemed alive, moving just beyond her vision. She caught glimpses of shapes darting between the trees, creatures she could not name, yet they did not feel threatening. Instead, they seemed curious, watching her with quiet interest as she made her way deeper into the woods. Eventually, she reached a small clearing, the ground illuminated by clusters of glowing flowers. Their light was soft and ethereal, like lanterns floating just above the earth. In the center of the clearing stood a tree unlike any Marin had ever seen. Its trunk was pale and smooth, and its branches twisted into intricate patterns, each leaf shimmering as though coated in tiny crystals. Hanging from one of the branches was a swing made of woven vines, gently swaying despite the still air. Marin approached it cautiously, drawn by the sense of calm that radiated from the tree. She touched the swing, and the forest seemed to respond, a soft hum vibrating through the ground beneath her feet. A voice echoed around the clearing, gentle but clear. "Do you trust yourself, Marin?" She jumped, looking around, but saw no one. "Who's there?" she asked, her voice steady despite the flutter in her chest. The voice came again, this time closer, as if it were right beside her. "You are the one who entered the house. You chose to see what others would never notice. Do you trust the path you are on?" Marin swallowed hard, trying to calm her racing thoughts. I think so," she whispered. "I don't know what's happening, but I feel like I'm meant to be here." The voice responded with a soft laugh, warm and melodic. "Then step forward, Marin. Tonight, you will see the truths you have avoided, and you will face choices that will shape the rest of your life." The ground beneath her feet shifted subtly, and Marin realized a narrow path had appeared, lined with smooth stones that glowed faintly in the moonlight. With a mixture of curiosity and resolve, she stepped onto the path, her steps echoing softly as if the forest itself were listening. As she walked, the forest seemed to change with each step. The shadows thickened, the air grew cooler, and the whispers of the trees became more insistent. Marin could see shapes moving just beyond the light, figures cloaked in shadow, neither human nor fully animal, their eyes glinting with intelligence. She did not feel threatened, yet a shiver ran down her spine. Each step forward felt like a test, as though the forest was evaluating her courage, her awareness, her heart. After what felt like hours, she reached another clearing, this one dominated by a pool of perfectly still water. The surface was so reflective that it looked like a mirror, but deeper and darker, almost infinite. Marin approached cautiously, drawn to the pool as if it were alive. When she peered into the water, her reflection wavered, shifting into images of herself she had never seen before. Brave, bold, and unafraid of the world. A voice spoke from the pool this time, low and resonant. "Do you see who you could be, Marin? Do you see the strength you have carried all along?" Marin knelt at the edge of the water, mesmerized. I think I do," she whispered. "But I'm not sure I can become her. I've always been careful, afraid to step too far." "Fear is not weakness," the voice said. "It is a guide. It tells you what matters. The challenge is not to eliminate fear, but to move forward despite it. Tonight, you will learn to trust yourself." The pool shimmered, and the images shifted again, this time showing moments from Marin's past. Times she had doubted herself, times she had hesitated, chances she had let slip away. She saw her parents, her friends, even strangers whose paths had crossed hers, each moment highlighting the choices she had made. Some were filled with regret, but others showed courage she had never acknowledged. Tears filled her eyes as she realized how much she had underestimated herself. She had always felt ordinary, easily overlooked, yet here she was, chosen by the forest, the house, the mysterious forces she could not fully name. She had been tested without knowing it, and she had walked forward. A ripple moved across the pool, and from its depths rose a figure, tall, cloaked in white light, with eyes that seemed to hold the weight of centuries. Marin instinctively stepped back, but the figure's presence was calm, comforting, not threatening. "Tonight, you will make a choice," the figure said. Its voice was soft but carried a weight that resonated deep within her chest. "You may return to the life you have known, unchanged but safe, or you may step forward into the unknown, where your courage, your heart, and your mind will be tested like never before." Marin's mind raced. She thought of her ordinary life, of the comfort and safety it offered. But she also felt the spark the house had ignited, the pull toward something extraordinary. She realized she did not want to go back. Not really. Not when she had glimpsed the strength she carried, the potential she had never acknowledged. I want to move forward, she said, her voice firmer now. I want to see who I can become. The figure nodded, and the forest seemed to exhale, releasing a wind that swirled around her. The pool's surface shimmered, and Maren felt herself lifted, as if floating on the air. The world around her blurred, and when her feet touched the ground again, she found herself in a new part of the forest. It was darker, the trees closer, their branches tangled like fingers. The glow from the flowers had vanished, replaced by shadows that seemed to move and watch. A path stretched ahead, winding through the dense woods. Maren could hear whispers in the shadows, soft, indistinct voices that seemed to beckon and warn at the same time. She steeled herself, her hand brushing against the hilt of a small knife she had brought, more for comfort than need. Each step forward was deliberate, each sound analyzed. She could not see who or what might be watching, but she no longer felt paralyzed by fear. As she walked, the whispers grew clearer, forming words she could understand. Courage, trust, truth, face yourself. The voices intertwined, forming a chorus that guided her deeper into the forest. She realized they were not threats but lessons, reminders of what she had already learned from the house and the pool. Eventually, she reached a clearing where the shadows seemed to gather into forms she could almost touch. Figures of light and dark intertwined, moving like dancers, each representing a choice, a fear, or a desire she had carried in her heart. Maren watched, understanding that this was a test unlike any she had faced before. To proceed, she would have to confront not just the forest, the house, or the night, but herself. Every doubt, every hope, every secret longing. She stepped into the clearing, feeling the shadows wrap around her. For a moment, panic threatened to rise, but she steadied herself. She focused on her heartbeat, on the warmth in her chest, on the courage she had claimed from the pool. She remembered the figure's words, "Move forward despite fear." One by one, the shadow figures approached, each representing a memory or a choice. Maren faced them, naming each one aloud, acknowledging what it had taught her. When a figure representing regret reached for her, she accepted it, whispered forgiveness, and it dissolved into a soft mist. When a figure representing fear loomed, she breathed deeply, recognized its warning, and stepped past it. Each confrontation left her lighter, braver, more certain of herself. By the time the first hints of dawn touched the sky, painting it in pink and gold, Maren had walked through the forest of shadows, faced the echoes of her past, and emerged changed. She felt a strength she had never known, a clarity that made everything seem possible. The forest no longer held secrets for her, it held mirrors, lessons, and the path forward. When she returned to the white pallet house, the door closed gently behind her, as if welcoming her back after a long journey. She stepped onto the porch and looked at the rising sun, feeling the warmth on her face. She knew that her life would never be the same. The night had altered her completely, revealing truths she had never dared to face and showing her the courage she had always carried. Maren smiled softly, feeling both awe and gratitude. The forest, the house, the whispers, and the shadow figures, they had all led her here, to a moment of understanding and purpose. She realized that the house would wait for the next soul, the next seeker, while she stepped forward into the life she had chosen for herself, ready to embrace the unknown with an open heart. Maren awoke to the soft chirping of birds, though the forest around the white pallet house felt different. The morning mist lingered among the trees, curling like smoke around their trunks. She stretched, the memory of the night before still vivid in her mind. The glowing forest, the shadow figures, the shimmering pool, and the choice she had made to embrace courage. The warmth that had accompanied her journey through the forest still hummed in her chest, a constant reminder of the strength she had discovered. Yet the house seemed to call to her again, its presence quiet but insistent. She stepped onto the porch, the boards creaking gently beneath her boots, and for a moment, she considered turning away. But something told her the night was not yet over. She pushed open the door and entered. Inside, the house had changed subtly. The walls, which had seemed ordinary in daylight, now radiated a soft golden glow. The air was warm, scented faintly with vanilla and cedar. On the table lay a small envelope, sealed with a wax emblem she did not recognize, a symbol of intertwined branches forming a circle. Marin picked it up, her hands trembling slightly. The wax was warm under her fingers, as if alive. She broke the seal and unfolded the letter inside. The handwriting was elegant, flowing, yet unfamiliar. It read, "Marin, the night has chosen you. You have faced your fears, embraced your courage, and walked paths others never dared. One final truth remains. To leave this place changed, you must accept what is waiting inside the house. Step forward, and see the life that has been meant for you." Her heart pounded. Step forward? What could still be waiting? She glanced around the room, half expecting the letter to vanish, but it stayed in her hands, real and solid. She could not deny the pull, the feeling that her journey had one final chapter yet to unfold. Slowly, she moved toward the staircase, each step echoing softly through the house. The upper floor seemed familiar, yet every corner held a new energy. When she reached the top, she found the door she had first opened, the one that led to the mirror. But now, the mirror shimmered differently. Its surface rippled with colors she had never seen: gold, silver, deep violet, and flashes of light that seemed to pulse with life. Marin approached, her reflection waiting, calm and radiant. The figure in the mirror spoke, its voice perfectly matching her own. "Are you ready, Marin?" Marin swallowed hard. She nodded, though no words came. The mirror's surface parted, like water, revealing a doorway of light. She stepped through, feeling her body lifted gently, carried forward by an unseen current. On the other side, she found herself in a vast hall, walls stretching into shadows and light, the ceiling lost to darkness. At the center stood a figure cloaked in radiant white, taller than any human, with eyes that seemed to hold the knowledge of the universe. Marin's pulse quickened. She had sensed the figure before, in the pool, in the forest. Yet now it stood fully present, alive and tangible. "Marin," the figure said, voice echoing like a melody, "you have faced fear, regret, and uncertainty. You have walked paths of courage and confronted shadows within yourself. But now, you must make your final choice." Marin's throat tightened. She had already made choices, faced trials, and discovered courage. What could this final choice be? "The choice is simple yet profound," the figure continued. "You may return to your old life, safe but unchanged, carrying the lessons of the night like a secret treasure. Or you may step fully into the unknown, accepting your true potential, embracing the extraordinary life waiting for you. Once chosen, there is no turning back." Marin's mind raced. She thought of the ordinary life she had left behind, the comfort of familiarity, the predictable routines, the small security she had always relied on. And then she thought of the courage she had discovered, the clarity she had felt, the spark ignited by the forest, the pool, and the house itself. She could feel it in her chest, a pulse of energy that urged her forward. She took a deep breath. "I choose the unknown," she said, her voice steady. "I choose to embrace what I am capable of." The figure inclined its head, and a soft, golden light spread through the hall. The floor beneath Marin shimmered, and she felt her body lifted once again, carried through the air as the hall dissolved into radiant mist. She was weightless, suspended in a world of pure possibility. Visions unfolded around her, glimpses of a life she had never dared to imagine. She saw herself leading, helping, creating, discovering. She saw moments of joy, courage, and love, each one more vivid than the last. Then the mist parted, revealing the forest outside the white pallet house. The sun had risen fully, golden rays spilling through the trees, painting the world in warmth and color. Marin's feet touched the soft moss, and she felt solid, grounded, yet transformed. She looked around, expecting the house to vanish, but it remained, quiet and waiting. Marin walked forward, her senses heightened, the air alive with the magic of the night she had endured. Each leaf, each ray of sunlight, each rustle of the forest spoke to her in ways she could now understand. She realized the house had been a gateway, a teacher, a guide to the person she was meant to become. As she reached the edge of the forest, she saw signs of life she had never noticed before. Birds flitted among the branches, their songs vibrant and complex. Small animals emerged from hidden corners, moving with confidence and curiosity. Even the wind seemed to carry a message, urging her onward. Marin felt as though the entire world was welcoming her, acknowledging the choice she had made. The white pallet house remained behind her, but it no longer felt like a place she could simply return to. It had served its purpose, guiding her through the night, teaching her lessons she could not have learned anywhere else. Its presence lingered in her mind, a beacon of the courage and clarity she now carried. Marin began her walk back to the path leading out of the forest. Each step was deliberate, grounded in the knowledge of her own strength. She knew challenges would come, that life would continue to test her in ways both subtle and profound. But she also knew she was ready. The night had shown her the depths of her own courage, the clarity of her heart, and the limitless potential she could embrace. As the trees thinned and the open fields appeared ahead, Marin felt a sense of peace wash over her. The forest, the house, the pool, the shadows, all of it had been a journey not just through the unknown, but into herself. She realized that the night had not simply altered her life, it had awakened it. At the edge of the forest, she paused and looked back. The white pallet house glimmered faintly through the trees, serene and silent. Marin smiled, a deep, confident smile. She understood now that the house would wait for the next seeker, as it had waited for her. And she understood that she would never forget what it had taught her, the courage it had awakened, or the life it had set into motion. With one final glance, she turned away, stepping into the morning light. Every step was purposeful, filled with intent and the certainty of someone who had faced fear, embraced the unknown, and discovered the strength within. She walked forward, her heart open, her mind clear, and her spirit unshakable. The world was vast, full of possibilities, and she was ready to live it fully, without hesitation. Marin knew she could not return to the ordinary life she had left behind. That night, and the white pallet house hidden in the forest, had shown her the extraordinary path she could walk. She carried the lessons of courage, clarity, and choice in her heart, ready to face the future, no matter what it held. And though the forest behind her was quiet, the magic lingered in every shadow, every rustle of leaves, every ray of sunlight. It was a reminder that the night had changed her completely, that she had stepped into a life she could shape, and that the white pallet house, waiting silently in the forest, would always be a part of her journey. Marin continued down the path, leaving the house behind but taking its lessons with her. She was no longer the same person who had stumbled upon the forest that night. She was stronger, braver, and more alive than she had ever been. And in her heart, she knew that no matter what challenges awaited, she could face them, guided by the courage and clarity she had found in the hidden house, and the night that had altered her life completely.